When I was 19, I was looking for a room to rent in the city I was moving to for college. It was about an hour away from my family. I wasn't having much luck, and my mom started helping me look for a place. She found an ad on Craigslist for a room for $300 in a house, everything included. The homeowner was a man, and he rented the additional rooms upstairs to other women while he lived in the finished basement. The ad stated he rarely ever saw the other roommates because he had a kitchen and his own entrance downstairs, and that he preferred women because he had issues with male roommates in the past, partying and causing damage. We decided to take a look into it since it was the cheapest thing we could find in my area. My mom and I went to the house to view it. Decent house, decent neighborhood. He opened the door and was very welcoming. He was middle-aged, and the kitchen and living room were furnished nicely and clean. My mom loves to talk and get to know people, so they were engaged in conversation while I stood there quietly and observed the place. He then said he would show me my room. We head towards the staircase to go up, as I thought. Since he said on the phone, my room was upstairs with the other roommates, but he opens another door and we follow. He takes us down to the basement and opens a door to a very small room. No closet and no windows. He proceeds to say this is my room and I will be sharing the bathroom in the hallway with him. And his bedroom did not have a door on it. I was definitely thinking absolutely not, this is weird, but they were so deep in conversation that I couldn't interject. He then leads us to the upstairs and shows us the other rooms, which the doors were open, and says they are currently rented. He then starts telling us elaborate stories about the other women. Not very nice stories, describing drinking problems. My mom was listening intently, but I took the time to investigate further. I looked in all three rooms and the bathrooms. There was furniture, but not a single item in there that it looked like it belonged to a woman. No clothes or anything, only men's clothes in one of the closets. He had no problem with me creeping around his tenants' rooms without their permission. I then heard him tell my mom that he has some of his stuff in their closets, but they don't mind, and I'm just like, why the hell would a tenant pay you for you to use their space as storage? I was feeling really uncomfortable and started moving back downstairs as they talked. My mom had mentioned when we arrived that her and my dad were going on vacation the next week, but I couldn't go because I had to work. He brought it up again, and that I should come by the next week and have dinner with him and the roomies to see if we would all get along. I said sure, and we left. As soon as we got in the car, I told my mom I would definitely not be living there, and she was dumbfounded. I had to explain to her, not only did he lie about the room I would be in, that I was not supposed to be in the basement with him as well, to share a bathroom with him, and he didn't even have a door. But also, did she not notice how no one else even lived there? She still didn't get it, and I thought I was just being paranoid. That's what she thought. He was nice, and it was a cheap deal. I had to explain it to my stepdad and get him to tell her by no means would I be living there. I tried to report the post, but by the time we got home that day, he removed it. I think he planned on murdering me at dinner, or abducting me and holding me hostage in that basement room that had no way to escape. I hope that guy hits a tree with his car one day. I work at a mall, so I encounter plenty of people every day. This particular encounter took place 4 years ago. I opened my store and began daily tasks such as reading and responding to emails and changing signs to match the deals that were going on that day. It was a quick shift because it was only a part-time job for me. I clocked in and 4 hours later I clocked out and went to my college classes. Nothing particularly strange happened that day that stood out to me. Just the usual helping customers find items that they're looking for and ringing them up. It wasn't until a few days later when I was sitting in a restaurant, and at the time, my phone was buzzing like crazy. People in my work group chat were going nuts over a screenshot of a man's post on Craigslist. When I opened the image, the man was describing his encounter with me in the store and the misconnections on Craigslist. Apparently, I had helped him find items for his daughter, rung him up, and left without any crazy alarms going off in my head. Wow. As I sat in the restaurant, I was thinking back to my shift a few days prior. I thought back to a couple of men that it could have easily been that day. For the next couple of weeks, I watched my back at work. I made sure I carefully examined each person, especially men who entered and exited. This was my first job, and because I was 18, I didn't have a lot of experience with people constantly checking me out on the innocent end of the spectrum, or stalking me, the more extreme end. This whole experience still has me looking over my shoulder. Not for the same man, but for any other person who may slip under the radar and go unnoticed as a total creep. I no longer wear a name badge, and my coworkers know not to give out my schedule. Just makes you think. I needed a new roommate quickly and eventually settled on this chick from Florida who was moving out to San Diego. Initially came off as a little goofy and naive over the phone, but in person, just strange. She had no sense for personal boundaries, would eat all my food, used my laptop in my room when I wasn't home to go on plentyoffish.com, and would barge into my room when I had friends over to stay. All in the first week. She did and said a ton of weird things in the month she lived with me. She started hanging out with a coworker from Subway along with her coworker's boyfriend who just got out of jail and 4 of his friends. They really only came around because she would buy stuff, and they laughed at the dumb stuff she would do and say. She would always leave the window cracked because she lost her keys a lot and would talk about how she did that all the time. Anyway, her friends broke into the house, stole my TV, my laptop, the smaller TV I had in my room, this wedding dress my aunt wanted me to sell on eBay for her, a bunch of DVDs, and my prescription glasses. I called her freaking out, and she was just getting home and said she called the cops on me because her broken laptop got stolen and suggested I stole all the stuff out of the apartment to steal her crappy broken laptop. Cops came and pulled me aside and told me she seemed unstable and suggested I don't use Craigslist for roommates anymore. I had her backed against the wall and was screaming at her with my finger in her face when the cops walked in. I thought I was screwed when they saw that, but after talking to her for 5 minutes, they seemed to understand my frustration. The cops took down what was stolen, and I took her key away and put her 1 box of crap outside the apartment. I eventually got my stuff back on my own because I made up some story about having hidden cameras and I wouldn't show them to the cops if I got all my stuff back. Somehow that worked. For more horror, click on screen now.